chapter 4 is on autosuggestion. So, autosuggestion is a term that I really hadn't heard much of before this book. Really had no idea what it was. I'm going to give you guys the definition. Maybe you're more familiar with it than me. Maybe not, but here's the definition that they give in the book. So, autosuggestion is a term which applies to all suggestions and self administered stimuli which reach one's mind through the five senses. Stated in another way, autosuggestion is self-suggestion. And y'all hear the background noise. Y'all know we're downtown. It is what it is. But I'm going to read it once again. Autosuggestion is a term which applies to all suggestions and all self-administered stimuli which reach one's mind through the five senses. Stated in another way, autosuggestion is self-suggestion. So what exactly does that mean? Even after I continuously read it, I'm still kind of in a space where I wasn't quite sure exactly what it meant. But as we were going through the chapter, I noticed that it was actually something that I had been doing for a large part of my life. And one of the highlights, or I should say the time that I did it, where it stood out the most to me, was in high school. So I want to read this other caption before I get into exactly what I did. That why I said that it stood out. Exactly what I did in high school. But let me read this caption to y'all, then we'll get into that. It says, "Here is a most significant fact: the subconscious mind takes any orders given in a spirit of absolute faith." All right, that's the faith that we're talking about, and acts upon these orders. Although the orders often have to be presented over and over again through repetition before they are interpreted through the subconscious mind, following the preceding statement, consider the possibility of playing a perfectly legitimate trick on your subconscious mind by making it believe, because you believe it, that you must have the amount of money you are visualizing, that this money is already awaiting your claim, that the subconscious mind must hand over to you practical plans for acquiring the money which is yours. All right, so obviously that's one passage in the middle of a chapter, but what they're suggesting, and I'm not sure if you guys, can take it away just from that statement, but what they're saying is our subconscious mind, this is my takeaway, acts almost as if it's a computer, maybe exactly like a computer, where everything that we put into our mind, we can almost play a trick on it to where we can input certain things in our mind and expect a certain output. So if we continuously tell ourselves something as simple as, I'm going to get an A on a test, or maybe you should say something like, I'm going to do outstanding in this class. All right, whatever. Let's use the first example on a test. If you continuously tell yourself that, and you have the faith, which obviously is the work that you put in to go, back that up, you're going to constantly find in your mind, it's going to present different things to you that you can do in order to put yourself in the best possible position to get that A on that test. So let me kind of give you my example, and then we'll kind of back into what they're describing in autosuggestion. So one of the things that I did in high school, I was very big when it came to visualization, seeing my goals. I'm not sure if I, read it somewhere. As far as, if you write down your goals physically, that you're much more likely to accomplish them. I used to have the stat on deck. Matter of fact, let's actually look it up, because this is something that we've actually talked about on previous podcasts. So for all the new listeners, that's something that's very big for us. Something that's very big for us, goal setting and writing down our goals. So bear with me a second. I'm going to tell you exactly how much your chances increase by simply writing down your goals. Chances increased by writing down goals. And you guys kind of, while you're waiting on me to figure this out, you guys take a stab at what you think. So you got your number in your head? All right. So there was a study done, and I believe this is pretty much consistent across the board. This is the number that I always come to find. 42%. You are 42% more likely to achieve your goal simply by writing it down. Think about that. You're 42% more likely to achieve a goal simply by writing it down. So if you have not written a goal down and you say it's your goal, you're lying. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to everybody else. You're not taking yourself seriously. All right? You don't really want to accomplish that. It just is what it is. Because if you really did, if you really wanted to accomplish something and you knew that you could do something as simple as just writing a goal down, and you would be 42% more likely to accomplish that goal, you tell me if you're serious about completing that goal if you have not written it down. All right? So I was big on that. So going back to my high school, I used to write a bunch of positive affirmations, goals for games, just different goals in general, mostly sports related, that I wanted to accomplish. So I would write them on my wall, literally with a Sharpie. I just take one of those thick Sharpies, write them on my wall because I wanted to see them. I wanted to embrace them to the fullest extent. And then I took it up a notch where I wrote down all my senior season goals on top of my bed, well, on the ceiling, right above my bed, I should say. Make sure you check with your parents first, of course, if you're still at home. But either way, I think it's something that you can convince them to allow you to do if you explain it the right way and if you explain, exactly just why you're doing it. So I wrote all my goals down above my bed for two reasons. Well, the first reason was I wanted to see it, my goal in the morning, just so I can be reminded, okay, boom, set me on the right path. That's my goal that I want to accomplish. Therefore, I want to make sure that I'm doing all the activities, all the steps that I'm going to take throughout the day that align with me achieving those goals. And then I want to see it at night. That was the second reason. I want to make sure that at night, that's where the accountability comes in. Actually, it's the accountability as well as something else. The accountability and something that I've added because of this book, the imagination. All right, so the accountability at night, when I'm looking up at the ceiling at my goals, I'm holding myself accountable to say like, hey, did I do any and everything to get me closer to those goals? And what are some things that I could do better? As well as, what are some things that I did well? And I want to be very honest and real with myself. And then what I've gotten from this book is the power of imagination. And that's actually the next book, or the next chapter, I should say. Well, it's two chapters after Autosuggestion. I've been reading ahead. Even though they say you're supposed to read one chapter a day, I've been actually listening to the audio book on Audible as well as reading. I need a double dose. Like, this book is that good. So when you talk about imagination, that's something that I added to the mix that I wasn't aware of that I was doing back then. And the imagination is what Doc B, shout out to Doc B, our high school sports psychologist, what he always used to tell us, it's seeing it before you do it. The power of envisioning something before you actually do it. Now, this book is it's breaking down exactly what Doc B was doing at the time when Doc B used to, if you're not familiar with him, Doc B, before games, he used to have us sit in a dark room. He used to play music, and he had a script that he would read to us of exactly how the game would go and how we would overcome our opponent, overcome any challenging obstacles that we faced throughout the game and get the win. So what it does is when you talk about imagination, it gives you confidence because you're seeing it first. So that's the confidence to actually believe that you could do something. You actually have to see yourself doing it. You know what I mean? You have to envision yourself doing it, and you'll be more likely, all right, to do it at least. Now, what this book suggests when it comes to autosuggestion and using your imagination is when you're thinking about something and using your imagination, it's going to create different ways to accomplish that particular goal. It's going to give you a plan, all right? Different plans that you can carry out in real time, but it's going to provide those first through your imagination, all right? Solving any problem, you have to use your imagination, right? They always talk about thinking outside the box. That's using your imagination, all right? Using a new way to do something. You got to see it here a lot of times before you can act it out. So that's the imagination side that I wasn't adding. At first, I was just looking at it as I want to hear this little fly. I want to hear this in the morning, see this in the morning, and then I want to actually apply it at night as well and hold myself accountable. But this book allowed me to add a couple different things to it. I said imagination, and the other thing, probably the most important thing that I should look up as well, is it had me write out my goals, write out exactly how I would achieve my goals, write out the exact date in which I would achieve my goals by, and a couple other things that I'll touch on as I read the passage for you all, just to kind of give you guys the exact instructions that they gave me. And I realized that I wasn't saying my goal. And that's one of the most important things. You know, writing it down, you're 42% more likely. Somebody, maybe we'll come the next time and talk about how much more likely you are to achieve it if you just ram it into your brain by saying it. All right, saying it. We got to understand, like I said, our heads are computers. Our minds are computers. What we tell ourselves, we believe it. All right, what we tell ourselves, like we believe it. You guys, have you ever played sports or just been around somebody who's super confident, who always gets lucky? You know what I mean? Like they just, it seems like they're so relaxed. They just know that they're going to win. And things just tend to fall in line for them. And we say like, yo, you know, you're just lucky. You're just like, no, that's mental. That's the mental prep. Like we take for granted sometimes the power of our mind, and only prioritize our actions. We don't understand exactly how our minds work, to build energy. I'm not sure, what exactly it would be called, but to build a certain energy, just to build this, we talk about the spirit of absolute faith that they mentioned, that you're just building through repetition. You're convincing yourself. And when they talked about in the book, where they say you can play a perfectly legitimate trick on your subconscious mind by making it believe, because you believe it, that you must have the amount of money that you are visualizing. Think about that. You can play a trick on your mind. You can play a trick on your mind by really convincing yourself that you already have this goal that you're looking to get. You already have it. You already have it. You have everything. Now you just got to figure out a way to kind of go and get it in reality. You know what I mean? But you already have it. If you can envision it, if you can imagine it, you got it. Now you just got to figure out a way to put it in real time. All right? You already drew out the play. Now you just got to put it in real time. So it's playing a trick on your mind, to where new opportunities are now going to come your way.